This vocal sounds human, but something about it feels slightly wrong. That harmony echoing up from the uncanny valley below, it's a vocoder. There's also a small trick in the synth that makes the vocoder sound much thicker, but we'll get there in a minute. Today I'll break down how I made this hook from Night Service, Nose to Nose, and Eye to Eye, and I'll show you how to recreate the same technique using a free vocoder inside of Fender Studio Pro. The hook actually has three elements happening. First, the lead vocal that sounds human, if a bit medium.
Nose to nose and eye to eye.
Second, the main vocoder layer underneath. And third, a higher vocoder harmony that comes in later. A vocoder is a device which combines two signals, a modulator, usually the vocal, and a carrier, which generates the tone. The vocal shapes the carrier, creating that robotic harmony effect. You've probably heard it on classic electronic records like Kraftwerk, experimental pieces like Laurie Anderson's Oh Superman, and later it became a signature sound for artists like Daft Punk. Let's build this from scratch. First, duplicate the vocal, now add a vocoder. Right now the carrier is just a simple oscillator, so we're only going to hear a single pitch.
Will you picture me? Frame aside, nose to nose and...
Cool for something like Intergalactic, but I want the vocal to move musically with the song. So instead of a static oscillator, we'll replace the carrier with a synth. In this case, I'm using Mai Tai since we're sticking with stock plugins. Now we can write MIDI notes that follow the chords. Side note on this, I usually just start with the chords and start muting or chopping notes. I prefer a dense synth sound with sparse MIDI notes, instead of dense notes with a sparse synth. So let's make a big dense synth sound. I'm using both oscillators set to the same octave, but sometimes it's fun to use multiple octaves here. And importantly, I'll turn off the filter so we get a completely wideband sound, since we'll use the vocoder / vocal as our filtering effect. I'm also turning off the reverb and delay but adding chorus. Great. Now inside the vocoder plugin, select the output of the Mai Tai channel as the sidechain input. And now our vocals shaping the synth.
Will you picture me? Frame aside, nose to nose and eye to eye.
And here's a helpful tip.
Go back and tweak the synth again while listening to the vocoder, because the whole point is how the carrier reacts to the vowels and the consonants in the vocal. Later in the song I added another vocoder harmony, but I didn't like how much it stuck out. So instead of lowering the velocity to lower its volume, I created a whole nother vocoder and synth track pair. This gives me total control over that higher part. Not only can I turn it down, but I can use reverb and delay to push it further back in space. Now it sits behind the vocal and the warmer vocoder track. Let's hear that full stack again. So that's just the hook. For the rest of the song, I actually took a different approach. To me, it's important to use sounds that play with the emotional distance of a piece. Sometimes things will feel very close, like in the verses, and other times I want them to drift into that strange, uncanny space. Okay, there you have it. The vocal treatment from Nose to Nose and Eye to Eye. Let me know if you have any questions about this, favorite vocoder plugins, examples, all that stuff.